I just believe I can do a lot of stuff. Sooner or later, my wife's will say, "You got to stop believing, or you can do some stuff."
What's happening, Skid Steer Nation? It's a new week, which means a new episode of the Skid Steer Nation podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Deemer, and this week we've got a gentleman from South Carolina. He is a longtime United States Marine Corps veteran. He is the proud owner of Palmetto Land Clearing, I believe is the proper name. And he also owns a rental company. And the story of why he got into rental will get you a little excited. So anyway, stay tuned. We're going to introduce Jason in just a second. Before I do that, I want to remind all of you out there that Skid Steer Nation is your home for high-quality American-made skid steer attachments. Guys, we only work with family-owned business owners, kind of like yourself, family-owned business owners. These guys take massive pride in the equipment they make. They test it. It's built for specific function, purpose. It will help you generate a better ROI than the large corporate thinner metal attachments that are out there. So head over to skidsteernation.com to get your next skid steer attachment. And if you're struggling in your business or you've hit that glass ceiling and you're doing well, but you want to reach that next level, you're just struggling and how to get through that, groundbreakinggrowth.com, guys. That's our advising and consulting division of Skid Steer Nation. You work directly with me one-on-one, and we'll help you break through those glass ceilings, launch that business, and reach new heights while you systematize your business, increase your profits, and grow your team. If you'd like to learn more about it, please head over to groundbreakinggrowth.com and schedule a call with me directly. Enough of the ad rolls. Jason, man, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good,
Glad
man.
to be here.
Yeah, I got to admit when I make mistakes. So to everybody listening out there, Jason and I were about 45 minutes into an awesome interview, and I went, shit, I never hit record.
Yeah.
So we have to start all over again. And he was very kind enough to make time in his schedule to do this not once, but twice. So first and foremost, Jason, thank you very much for that.
Not a problem. No issues.
Yeah. So you're a longtime Marine Corps veteran. You, what was it, 21 years, if I remember right?
Almost 22. Close, yeah. Almost 22 years, yes, sir.
Almost 22. Yeah, and then you joined the Marine Corps not on your own free will properly, correct?
No, I pretty much was told to join the Marine Corps. I'd always wanted to join the Marine Corps since I was a kid, and then I got involved with the wrong people in my high school years and kept getting in trouble and doing bad stuff and in and out of jail, doing just drugs, fighting, and all kind of stuff. And I was looking at close to a 5-year sentence there. And the judge actually let me go out of jail because he knew my family. He knew my story. He knew I wanted to join the military. He was like, "Hey, I thought you was going to the military." I was like, "I want to go." He was like, "Well, I'm going to let you out early. I'm not going to extend your sentence." Because I was looking at, like I said, 5-year sentence then. He said, "You go join the Marine Corps, don't come back." And I pretty much did that. I joined the military and didn't come back for a long time, but it was a blessing. One of the best things that ever happened to me. And I just had to take that initial step to get away from people.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like sometimes we need that extra kick to make that step.
Yep, that's what it was. Like I said, I was in and out of jail here and there, 30 days here, 60 days there, 9 months here. Like before I even joined the military, I was almost 2 years of my life wasted behind bars over dumb stuff, man. You never get it back, but I think everything happens for a reason. I think I'm here to this day for a reason. I think all that happened to set me up where I am right now.
I'm a firm believer in that too. Like you're exactly where you need to be.
Yep.
And the experiences that you go through are the experiences you needed to get you where you are today.
Yep. You're exactly right. Yeah.
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 Firm believer in that.
I think that's why I work as hard as I do, just to prove to myself that person was there. Some people still think of that person 30 years ago, almost however long it's been. And, it's just like, I try to work to forget it, I guess. Try to forget it off my mind or work hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is just it's been almost 30 years. Do you still have those thoughts creep into your head that you want to go back to that wild, crazy lifestyle at all today or no?
Yeah. Shit, no, man. You couldn't pay me to go back. I mean, we were doing dumb stuff and doing crazy stuff back then, because it's just kids. And then you just never grew up. I worked a little bit here, worked a little bit there, just never had no real drive, no ambition, everything like that. Joined the military. I got the drive. I got the ambition. I got the the good work ethic. I think I already had a great work ethic growing up, but it's just I'd rather be partying than working. I mean, that's all it was. I'd rather be partying than doing stuff. And then I guess I settled down over the years with my wife and family and all that stuff in the military. And then I got out of the military, and it's just like I haven't looked back. I haven't looked back one bit.
So did you re-sign? Like, were you looking forward to re-up every time, or like what was your reasoning or thought process behind doing almost 22 years in the Marine Corps?
So that's actually pretty funny you asked that. I was going to do 4 years and get out and go do my own thing. But every time I came up for reenlistment, I was getting out of the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps they offered me a little bonus. They offered me a duty station. They'd offer me a little incentive to stay in. The next thing I know, here it is, almost 22 years, and I mean, just time flies, and I'm sure at your age by now, time and life flies. Like I said, I tried to get out every 4 years, and then they just offered me just a little bit of sweetener on the deal, and I said, all right, sold, and here I am.
Yeah.
I've been retired 5 years now, and it just seemed like yesterday.
That's speaking of how time flies, right?
Yep, you're exactly
it's
right.
always the memories that feel like they were yesterday, and you look at the watch and go, "Wow, that was years ago."
Yep, that's what hurts right there. He's like, "Wow, it's been a while now."
Yeah, yeah, and I just came to the realization that my 30-year class reunion is next summer. And I was like, God, like the 20-year reunion was one thing, 25. I'm like 30. I'm like, I feel like an old man now. Like that number, I don't know something about that 30 number out of high school.
That's rough, ain't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine should be coming up too, right around that time frame. We were class of '96. But then again, I can't say that. I was actually, to further get personal, I guess you'd say, that's why I work as hard as I do. And like I do have something to prove to myself and to others. I dropped out of high school 10th grade. I never finished high school just because of the partying and all that good stuff. I got a GED and I joined the military. So I'm not school education. I did go to college throughout my military career. I still never finished college, but I do feel like, I don't know. I feel like I do need to prove something just because I don't have the papers or whatever. I think my work ethic, I'm trying to prove and make up for something through my work ethic.
Yeah. I think that story probably resonates with a lot of guys out there. I mean, the trades isn't something you go to college for, right? And if you start mowing lawns, like my nephew, he's 17 now. That's speaking of how time flies by. And it's like a fight all the time with him, like to finish school. Because he sees where he's going to go with his life with either the trades or excavation, because he loves doing stuff with his hands, and he can't wrap his head around why he needs a high school education to go do that work.
I can't argue with him on that fact, but I think that my generation, had it a little bit easier to drive the work ethic and get your foot in the door. Kids these days, I would recommend them finishing. I'd highly recommend them finishing high school and highly recommend college, just because you never know where the world is going to go and the economy is going to go. You need something to fall back on. Even if you're established to a certain extent, if you're young that age, you need something to fall back on. Like me, I pretty much think I'm set where I'm going to go. My opinion is if my business fails and I collapse and all this good stuff, then the worst case, I sell everything and go fishing. I don't have nothing to worry about. Where I get a military retirement check every month. It's a pretty good check and all that good stuff. So, but I think anybody else who doesn't have anything to fall back on, I think they need to get a piece of paper just as a security blanket, I guess.
Yeah. And I always tell them take the paper out of the equation, finish what you started.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like you committed to finishing school, finish it. It's like he played hockey too. And there was one year that the coach, they rearranged the teams, and his team was a lot younger. They were getting their ass kicked every week and all that. And I'm like, you started the season, you got to finish it. Like, you don't have to play again next year, but you got to finish this season because you committed to all these other kids that you're going to play with them.
That's what happened with our daughter in volleyball too. They were terrible, and everybody wanted to quit. And the coach wasn't the greatest coach ever. It was like, y'all just got to finish it. I mean, we win some, you lose some. You got to finish it. They did finish it, but it was just, we hated it for them because they just tried so hard. They were just like bad news bears. It was terrible.
Yeah, I feel like those are those life lessons that make even us as grown adults better, though, because like not every job goes perfect. And there's a bunch that you'd love to walk away from, but you committed to doing it, so we got to finish it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I honestly think in the United States doesn't do it, but I think every kid out of high school should spend up to 2 years in the military as soon as you get out, just so you get that structure, that backbone, that commitment, the camaraderie, the teamwork, and all that good stuff. Like Norway, I remember Norway did that. We did some work with them. Every single one of those kids, male and female, out of high school. I think Singapore's that way too. Has to do 2 years in the military, and they have to start it and finish it and all that good stuff. But they don't know that if it's not forced, it's not made to do it, because there's so many kids will do something for 2 or 3 years and stop, 2 or 3 years and stop. Just like me, I was trying to quit the military every 4 years, and they kept giving me a little incentive to stay in. I was like, man, it's the best thing I ever did. I mean, you just can't. It sucked. Don't get me wrong, it sucked terrible, especially Iraq and Afghanistan. But I miss the how do you say it? I miss the clowns, not the circus. I miss my brothers and sisters, but not the big top.
Yeah, I miss the clowns, not the circus. That's a good analogy. I'm going to have to steal that one from you.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't trademark it, so go ahead.
So your business, if I remember correctly, you actually started by doing side work while you were in the military.
I did. I've always had like a side hustle while I was in the military. I did pressure washing. I did car detailing. I did like engine repairs. I just always like having a little extra cash on the end, because I mean, military, you're on a set paycheck. You got a housing, you get allowances, you get all this good stuff, but you're on a set paycheck. So I always like earning a little extra money. I always did that. And this business here started out of believe it or not, COVID. COVID is why I got this business started. I was doing landscaping and had some grass cutting contracts for some communities and stuff like that. And I was actually supposed to be hired and passed everything I needed to be a Border Patrol agent. I was supposed to go to school in January 2020 to become a Border Patrol agent, but then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, I'd already had my retirement date set. So my bosses was like, hey, you need to come in once a day. Then it went from come in once a day to phone in once a day. And then it went from phone in once a day to phone in once a week. And while I was sitting at home, everyone else who was sitting at home, they got green thumbs, I guess you could say. That my phone started blowing up. It was like, hey, can you cut these limbs? Like, yeah, I can cut these limbs. Can you cut this field? Yes. I never said no. You know what I mean? I knew my capabilities, what I can and can't do. And if I felt safe doing it, confident in doing it, I did it, and what I did from there was those 8 months. It was 8 months between COVID happened and my retirement date that I was really, my business just went through the roof. It just took off. I mean, it was unreal. And then I went out and bought me a little tractor, and I called the recruiters for the Border Patrol and told them I was pulling my application, that I was going to go to the class or whatever. And they were upset with me. That one guy, he chewed my butt like he was my dad. He was mad at me because by that time they didn't send me to Georgia for interviews and screening and doctors and all this stuff. They sent me to Florida for all this. They sent me for all over the place, and they spent a lot of money on me. But I was like, look, man, I'm going to business for myself. I don't have to answer to nobody no more. You should be proud of me. He calmed down at the end. He understood it, but I get it. It's like they just knew I was going, and I kind of knew I was going too. But I'm glad I didn't. I'm real glad I didn't. I mean, I was doing great. I just believe myself. I just keep pushing. I spent all that money I made during COVID. Went out and bought me a little 23 horsepower Massey Ferguson tractor. That's my first tractor I ever bought. It was 23 horsepower tractor. And I went from there and just kept investing to everything we have today.
Yeah. And like, you're in a unique situation because with the security of your retirement in the military, you're able to reinvest an enormous amount of your profits back into your business for growth.
Nearly every dime I make from my company, I put right back into it. You're right on that with the military retirement benefits and pension, like my wife. So we have a lucky, and if lucky is the right word, to where we don't have to. My company doesn't provide my living. My company provides my company, I guess you can say, what I make off my business. My military retirement covers our mortgage, our vacations, our bills, cars, insurance, all this other stuff. So everything I make off my company, like you said, I put right back into my company. I mean, we splurge, don't get me wrong, we splurge and buy stuff or whatever, but if I need something for my company, I'm making, I don't have to get a loan. I don't have to, worry about financing or whatever. I just take whatever I have and just put it right back into myself. It's a lot of people ask me how I do it all the time. They say I make it look easy. I say, I do make it look easy, but you forgot Uncle Sam sends me a pretty nice check every month, and I'm getting that till I pass away.
Yeah, but you also have the dedication to, like, you don't just go look at everything you see and say, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to, like, you still, like, what's the purpose? What's the value? What's the return on investment? Okay, we can justify the purchase. Let's move forward. You got to have that process. Yeah.
And I have a weird, to not be educated enough or not have the schooling and all that stuff. I just have a weird sense of seeing something and knowing I can make money off of it. Like when I first started out, my wife would asked me, he's like, do you really need that? Do you need that? And she was worried that, because it's large purchases, first starting out a company, it was major purchases. You spend 50 grand here, 60 grand here, 70 grand here. He's like, do you need it? And I'd always justify it. I was like, look, I could get it for this. I could make this with it, blah, 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 blah. Now, if I can say I'm going to go buy a piece of equipment, she don't bat eye. She knows, she believes in me, and she knows that I'm going to make some money out of it or make it work.
You've already went through your internal process to say, yep, this is what we need.
Yeah, she's vouched for me a couple of years. She says she's good with it now.
She's
yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, you see a lot of these young kids, they start making some money and they go out and they'll buy like a F-350 Platinum. That thing doesn't make $1 for the business.
No, they don't. And they end up doing it on the side, and they make a little bit of money here and there, and then they don't save their money. They get those $4,000, $5,000 paychecks. Then you go out and they buy $10,000 rims for that F-350 Platinum.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to be cautious with it and be wise with it or whatever. And that's another thing. Like I say, I have it easy with my company because I don't have to buy all that from my living. Don't take away from my living and my lifestyle. Like if I got nice equipment, nice new equipment, all that stuff is because I make it right for my company. I put it right back into it. I don't have to worry about, I don't know how to say it, worry about not making my payments because we've been doing this long enough now. We've done people good over the years that the phone rings without having to worry about making my payments.
So that's basically if it rains, biblical rains for 10 days and you cannot go out and do any work, you're not worried about your cash flow.
No, not that at all. And then my phone's going to be ringing even if it's raining, and I got work stacked up close to a month out. Most every month I'm about a month out. Sometimes it gets to where I'm about almost 2 months out. But I mean, it's just that they call, and then word of mouth goes a long way for us. It really does. Yeah. And it's really done us well. So
you and I are no spring chickens. We're much closer to 50 than we are 40.
Well, there's no need for cuss word now.
And you're still running this as a solo business owner. Like you don't have employees. Like you're out doing the grunt work too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Running a chainsaw, doing everything. I have a couple of guys that help me out. They have full-time jobs with other companies. And then like on weekends and long days in the summer, they help me out, which helps me out a lot. Especially a lot of the leg work. And my son helps me out too whenever he's available to help me out. My wife helps me out. My wife's been on the excavator many times, especially when we first started out. My wife, she's a little lady. She got there and run the excavator around most men that say they're operators. But my daughter's been out there, helps me out. My daughter-in-law helps me out. Whenever I need help, I know where to get. I just try not to use help because I don't want to tax them, to death and bother them, whatever. But I prefer that way. Not for, I don't know, not for, I don't know. I'm pretty picky about my work, and I try to be the best I can. And I don't like have to follow up on people. And the people I do have help me out, I can just say, hey, go this way and go do this, and they'll do it. So I don't have to worry about it. Which was actually when we first started out. I started as a landscape company. I had landscape contracts in town. I had 3 or 4 communities I was actually doing landscape before. It was pretty nice contracts. And the guys that I had workers for me, they would show up to work drunk. They show up to work late. They wouldn't take care of my equipment. They wouldn't do what they were supposed to be doing. And I just finally said, I got out of that headache and just started doing it on my own. But like I said, I do have people to help me out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing it all by myself. But like this past week, I just cleared a 5-acre lot this past week for a home site and everything like that. I had a guy help me out about 4 hours on that total project, but the whole week since I spoke to you last, that's what I did all by myself. I mean, I don't do that. Yeah, chainsaw and everything. Don't get me wrong, my back hurts sometimes, but my feet hurt a little bit. But
just reminds you you're alive, Jason. Just reminds you you're alive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But I still do it. I mean, I don't mind it. There'll be a day come whenever I don't do it or I get so busy. And my wife tells me all the time, she's like, you need to hire somebody full time, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I do. And I probably can without a doubt do it. But it's like, I'm still having a little fun with it. I'm not at the point yet.
Yeah. And like for you, you're happy where you're at. Like you're not struggling, wishing you had employees. You're like, no, I specifically don't want full-time employees yet.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's the managing factor. Being in the military, managing people your whole career and all that stuff. And it's just, I was like, I did that in the military. I don't want to manage people. I don't want to tell people to tuck your shirt in. I don't want to tell people to be at work at a certain time. I don't want to tell them to go do this. You know what I mean? I don't want to, not to sound like an ass. I just don't want to have that responsibility. The guys that I have helped me out are great guys. Whenever I call them up, I say, hey man, you free? They're like, hell yeah, we're free. Let's go do it. And they great personalities, great workers, I mean, Summer, we work 14, 15, 16 hours a day. As long as the sun's up, we'll work. And those guys will work with me. So I got a lot of respect for them, and I appreciate it. I appreciate them a lot. And even my son and my wife and my kids, they'll help them. My daughter-in-law, they help me out. They got their own stuff going on, but if I say, hey, they know if I've asked for help that I really need help. I
Yep.
don't just ask for help just because I'm lazy. I really
Because
need
you don't
help.
want to go do it by yourself today.
Yeah. Or if I
Yeah.
need a set of eyes or need somebody, just something as simple as standing on the road directing traffic sometimes because you're moving equipment in and out or loading trucks or whatever, just something that simple. They'll jump on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. I got it's a blessing. It is. Yeah.
So you go from having these contracts for landscaping with these communities. People start calling you and asking you to do things outside of your normal realm during COVID.
Yeah.
How did you maintain that momentum and make the complete shift to excavation and still be 4-6 weeks booked in advance?
I really don't know, man. That's not like it was a science to it or planning or anything like that. God has blessed us tremendously, looked out for us a lot. Not to get too religious and everything on your show, but I do believe that. But I did have some side hustles here and there, like or side clearing a little bit of stuff when I have my landscape contracts. I just told those people, I said, hey, I'm probably going to be doing this full time soon if I can't get my guys right. They said, hey, we'll get your name out there, we'll get word out, and they did. I mean, the few people that I knew, I opened up a company in a town that's hard to break into, which most people are. I didn't grow up here. All my family is 2.5 hours north of here. I don't have any really friends here than the ones I serve with. So most of the people doing my line of work in this town, everybody said, hey, go see so and so for 30 years now, for 40 years, however long it's been. So it's hard to break ground being a new guy in town because everybody knows Bob across town or John across town. They don't like, who's Jason? Who's that guy? So, but every year and every month it gets more and more, how do you say it? Not comfortable, but busier, comfortable. I don't know how to word it.
Yeah, your ties to the community get stronger.
Easier,
It's a little
maybe
easier.
Yeah, a little easier. Yeah. Instead of have to. And then there's sometimes, don't get me wrong, the phone don't ring for 2 or 3 weeks. But like we were talking earlier, you got to have that money in the bank. You can't go out spending all your money on stupid stuff if you ain't got, it's just stuff happens. We do get rains every now and then. We do get storms. We do get droughts, and then just sometimes summertime, sometimes vacations.
Yeah.
People going on vacations and stuff or school breaks. It's just stuff happens.
And it's like clockwork. If you do a lot of residential work, like everybody I know that does a focus on residential, they get really good at it. It takes them about 2 or 3 years before they realize that the school calendar dictates phone calls.
It really does. It really does. That a winter break, fall break, all that good stuff. Summer travel, all that, everything. But we try to plan for it. We're getting pretty good at it. There's no method to
like the week before and 2 weeks after school starts, everybody's trying to get their new schedule. Like they're like, yeah, nobody's calling unless it's an emergency.
Yep. But one thing I haven't been able to crack or figure out is December. I'll have a lot of people and a lot of competitors and a lot of friends I've talked to said December is always their slowest month. December is always their slowest month. But for 5 years now, December has always been our best month. Every year for 5 years now, December has been through the roof, and I don't understand it at all. And we take vacations ourselves in December. I'll take a week or two off myself, and I just don't understand how I get all that done in December with the short days. And I don't know. There's no method to December. It's just crazy. Now I might have jinxed it just in my saying something, but
no.
December is through the roof, and I'm like, what are these? Now, one thing I can maybe think is maybe people trying to spend their money for the end of the calendar year or something for tax purposes. I have no idea. But it's like, golly, it blows my mind every year how well December does.
Yeah, and that's a big one. I think if you go find those people that own businesses on their property or these small commercial businesses and make that your effort for Q4, because if they do have any profits and they know they're going to have to invest in this land clearing for the new building, like let's do it now so that way we can write it off on this year's sales versus having all the write-offs next year. We can kind of spread those write-offs off.
Their accountants tell them, so you need to spend this much money, spend it here. Yeah. I think that may be a part of the reason, but it's just like, wow. And like I said, we take vacations. We go on vacation. It's crazy. Come back and just be wide open.
Yeah. We typically
work in the dark too.
Yeah. We have good Decembers at Skid Steer Nation when the economy's good. When it's the same reason, right? Like guys call up and say, hey, I want to buy this new attachment so I can write it off, because you can write it off in full with that. I think it's I never get the numbers right. Is it the tax code 1799 or 179?
I think 179.
179. Well, yeah, you could write off the full value of that piece of equipment in the calendar year that you purchased it. So,
Yep.
If you get sitting on a bunch of cash and you don't want to pay taxes on it, you could drop 5, 10, 15 grand on some attachments. That's a full write-off for this year. And then you got the equipment to do the work next year.
I got you.
So
I'm still learning. I don't know everything. We have a pretty good accountant. She helps us out with a lot. But we're still learning because, it's different every year. Every year is different depending on what you buy and don't buy and your expenses and all that stuff. It's just, I didn't know it would be this complicated, but it's actually working out pretty good. And actually, my wife is just finished her associates in business management and accounting, and she's going back in the spring to get her bachelor's. So I said it's probably going to benefit her. It's probably going to benefit her and benefit us in the long run at the pace we're going with some of our stuff we have going on at this time.
Yeah. So I really want to dive into this. You got so pissed off at a rental company in your area, you said, screw it, I'm going to start my own.
Yep. You're exactly
right. Can you
walk
me through that a little bit?
I've had a couple deals. There's the major brand companies across town where Beaufort County sits at is spread out over islands, over a large, vast area. Hilton Head's on the other side of town, Bluffton's on the other side of town, and we're on Beaufort side of town. And on our side of town, there's one local mom and pop rental company. On the other side of town, there's Sunbelt Rentals, there's United Rentals, there's all the major companies. So when I first started out, they did me wrong in a couple of instances, and I'll explain them. I rented a stump grinder for a lady. It was like a $10,000 job. I cleared the land and everything like that. And she wanted to stump something on that stuff. I was like, okay, I'll rent a stump grinder. So I'll go to grind the stumps, and the stump grinder I rented wouldn't work. They brought me another stump grinder. It wouldn't work. And the machine would work, but the teeth were bad. They weren't doing maintenance on it. She ended up canceling the stump grinding part of the job, which ended up reducing my cost by nearly half, so which I planned on making. Anyways, I was like, hey, maybe, stuff happens, accidents happen, I get it. About 3 or 4 months later, I go to get a large excavator from them to do some land clearing. They drop it off out in the field where I was doing the work at. I didn't pay no attention to it. I jumped in the machine, got to work, and then I go have them pick it up. They call me about a week later and say, hey, you got about a bunch of damages on this machine you need to come look at. The stuff I was clearing was 10, 15-foot pines, nothing major. So when I get there, they have dents on the cab of the machine. This is a large excavator. Those trees couldn't even reach it. They have dents on the cab of the machine. Some lights are broken. Some mirrors are broken. I was like, well, the mirror could work. It's a possibility that I broke the mirror. I'm not going to deny that one. The back has scratches all over it, like it rubbing up against asphalt, shingles, concrete, all that stuff. And they said I was on the hook for that. Anyways, they wanted like $4,900. And I said, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying it at all. And I was like, can you help me out? Can you settle with me? Like, I was young, just starting my business out, fresh out of Marine Corps, didn't want any trouble, didn't want any drama. Ended up settling with them for like $2,300. I paid that, but I didn't fight with them, and I should have, because they never made those repairs. They never made those damages. And after I saw that, I told my wife, as soon as I get my money saved up, as soon as I get time, I'm going to open up a rental company. And this past March, we opened up that rental company right across town.
That's so awesome.
Yep,
I love it. Like, I love the mentality of like, I don't like the way you do business, I'm going to become your competitor.
Yeah. And a lot of people that are our new customers now, every single one of them walks to that door. I'm not going to say the company's name, but they say, we're so tired of dealing with so-and-so. We're so tired of dealing with so-and-so. And they say, man, we can't tell you how grateful we are for you guys opening up on this side of town. We're tired. We're glad there's a new guy in town. We're glad that you guys are here. It's unreal. I'll probably, out of 95 customers, 100 customers walk to that door, 90 of them will say the exact same thing. Wow. They will say that they're tired of dealing with them. It makes me feel good. I never had no issue with the guys who run the company over there. I thought they were pretty good guys, but I think they're shitty businessmen. And to put it blunt, I don't know. It took them 3 months to give me that refund for that stump grinder. 3 months to give me a refund for a stump grinder. That was ridiculous. But yeah, we're doing it good. My wife, my son run that. My daughter-in-law helps out when she's not busy, and my daughter helps out when they're not busy. They both have jobs, so whenever they're not busy, they help out the shop. But they're killing it. I mean, it's insane how well that business is taking off, and we're already looking to get more equipment for it. I've already thinking about expanding in other parts of the state with it. I did it. I intentionally bought smaller equipment, like 8,000 pound and under equipment, so I'm not competing against myself in my land clear, because you can't do so much with 8,000 pound excavator.
Right.
You can't do so much with a 7,000 pound skid steer. So, and it helps me out too, because whenever I have customers have smaller projects that I really can't get to, I'm like, well, hey, call a rental shop. They'll give you a good deal on it. And I mean, you're still making money. We're making money both ways. I mean, we're not rolling in the dough by any means, but it's taking off more and more every month. Is like, this is our 8th or 9th month. It's just keeps going. I got no complaints, man. It's doing real well.
That's awesome. How many pieces of equipment did you start with 8-9 months ago?
Oh, I went to the dealership and bought all new equipment. I bought 2 stand-ons, 3 excavators, 2 skid steers, 2 dump trailers, and that's it. Yeah, all brand new equipment, so we didn't have to worry about maintenance or anything like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah,
I just love that. Like, I think that whole story behind that's fantastic. The first time you told me that, I was just like, that's wild.
Yeah. And my wife was always like, she don't doubt me. She was like, you really want to do this? You sure you want to do this? Like, yeah, of course I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. And they're doing it. They're doing it all. I stay out of it. I stop by the shop once a week or so and stay hey and check in and see if they need anything. But they do it all. They set all their prices. They do all the maintenance. They do all the deliveries. I just get an update. That's about it. I get updates. They tell me how it's going. They see if maintenance is going crazy or whatever. They tell me. We have some stuff we're ordering. We're getting some list order. We don't have any yet because we didn't have the initial revenue. We put everything in the hat. All our what do you say? All our money in one hat or whatever the little saying is. All our eggs in one basket. Golly, I couldn't say it. All our eggs in one basket from the initial start, and we got everything. I said brand new. Didn't have to worry about nothing. And now we're making some money back, starting to reinvest in that business. Like, it took me a while to reinvest in my mulching and clearing business. But it took a little bit of time to reinvest in that one. We got some lifts on order. We got some smaller pieces of equipment on order and stuff like that. So it's coming around.
I hear from a lot of guys that like the dump trailer rentals really good. Do you see that those stay pretty busy?
They do. They stay out all the time. And what's even greater was that is when they rent a dump trailer, they want a skid steer or they want a stand on or an excavator to go with it. So. And then we also sell like culvert pipe. So we have it all right there at the shop. Everything you need. You don't have to go far. Grapples, attachments, all that good stuff. So yeah, the dump trailers stay out. I should probably get a couple more, but as far as we're limited with space right now. So I think we're going to hold off on that. But the dump trailers do really well.
That's awesome. Oh man. If that's not the American story right there, I don't know what is. From
we try.
in and out of prison to not forced, but told more prison time or military. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
To 20 years of service, now operating and owning 2 businesses with your family. I mean, that's pretty awesome blessing right there.
It is. And we, it gets stressful at times, but we know how to back off and leave each other alone, whatever. Everybody has a bad day or whatever, but not like we're at each other's throats or whatever. But when we do, we that's one thing working with your family is how you make it or take it or whatever. We say what we got to say, we do what we got to do, and we get on with our business. We don't hold grudges against each other. We're sitting there at the dinner table every night, eating dinner together. We eat lunch or whatever. We're going out for breakfast, whatever. So we're always all together, vacations together, all that good stuff. So we talk about work when we have to, and we don't. We're back on vacation somewhere, doing whatever.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing with the family is that you don't know. The line gets blurred of when it's time to stop talking about business and when it's time just to be family.
Yeah. Yeah. We turn it off pretty good. I have a hard time. We turn off the rental company pretty good. I have a hard time turning mine off for myself because the phone's always ringing or somebody's always texting or messaging. And I just now recently started this past year. We go on vacation. We have a friend of ours that she's very, very good with reception and skills and all that stuff. So I give her my phones and she does all the messages and everything for me. And I just try to disconnect my best as I can. Put my phone down a lot better than I do. But with the rental company, it's usually most people call between certain hours and stuff like that. But with my company, the phone's always ringing. I mean, 3 times a day or night, for people all over. I got people who move here from West Coast or up north or whatever, and their time zones are different. They want something done, or they'll be in town this weekend and want a quote. I'm like, I'll see what I can do, but it's 11 o'clock at night. You probably shouldn't be calling me this late.
Yeah. No kidding. I always tell people, like, they don't expect you to answer. They just expect a call back the next day. So don't put
Yeah.
the, like you got to do that for yourself too. Cause I see a lot of guys and like you're in a really good position. You're not stressed about a lot. Like too many people call is one thing, but those guys that we talk to all the time is like, I got to take those calls because I need those jobs. I need those jobs. I'm like, but they don't need you to, what are you going to do at 9:00 at night other than hear them out and schedule a time?
Yeah. That's
Right?
usually what it is. And I think the initial open up a business being at your own pace or whatever, that puts pressure on you to answer that phone. It does.
Yeah.
And then even with me booked out sometimes the way I am, like a month and a half, 2 months out, I have customers out of counseling like the day before, like, hey, remember I scheduled, I try to keep in touch with them or whatever and say, hey, I scheduled, we're supposed to be there next week or tomorrow or whatever. They say, oh, we already got the work done. I put a lot of pressure on me to get the work done and get the phones answered because those customers, when they get money in their pocket, they're going to spend it. If you can't get it to them fast enough, even though you'll book something and reserve something with them, they're gonna get it done how fast they want it done.
Yeah.
Even though they'll sit there and commit to something. And I used to get customers to give me a deposit just so I know to block my schedule off, just so I know I got the customer locked in or whatever. I'd make them pay like a third up front for larger jobs. If it's like a 1 day or 2 day job, I wasn't asking for a deposit, but like larger jobs that I have to block off a whole week for, 2 weeks for, I'll ask them for a third deposit. But now I don't even do that. This past year, I haven't asked for any deposits. I'm like, well, if they cancel or something happens, then I'll just go on to the next job. Just bump somebody else up. It's not gonna kill me no more. Put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no science to it, but
nope, there's no science to it.
Some guys start with a 20% deposit. They get up to 50% for just to book the time on the calendar. And some guys take no deposits. I think it really depends on the location, the relationships, the network.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm pretty good at reading people, and I used to do that too because I read people. You get vibes from people. You can tell if someone may or may not, be serious about it or whatever. And I would, like I said, for peace of mind for myself, because like I said, if I block that time off my schedule and everything like that, you freeze up on me?
Nope, I'm right here.
Oh, I thought I froze up. But it's for peace of mind for myself too. Like I got that time blocked off my schedule. I didn't have anything to back up on or anything to follow up on or whatever. And now I do. Like I have customers that have been customers for years now, and they say, hey, anytime you get some downtime, come give us a couple of days of mulching, or anytime you want to come out and do some grading, do it. So I have something to fall back on now, which is a blessing for myself. I don't have to stress. Not saying that I don't care about new customers. I really care about new customers. I care about growing our business. But if someone cancels on me now, I'm like, oh, well, I'll just go do this, or I'll take a day off and get on the boat, man. I need time off.
Isn't that funny, Jason? Like when you need it, like that's when all the bad shit happens constantly, or the cancellations and all that. And when you just want it, but you don't need it, and you're just like, that's fine. I'm not mad at you. Like the phone rings more, and this people call, and it all happens for a reason. And now you can do this 15-acre job in the time frame because you had a cancellation. It's just the universe works in a strange way, and sometimes we just got to take a break and pause and.
It really is. And I say that to people all the time. This business is a blessing and a curse because you're blessed beyond belief to have the work, but it's a curse sometimes because you feel so stressed and so taxed, and you work and work and work. You try to please everyone else. You try to help everyone out. You can't get to everyone at a time. So it's like not wearing yourself out. It is mentally wearing yourself out sometimes, but it's a blessing that the phone rings. But it's like you work yourself to death sometimes too. Summers suck. I ain't gonna lie. The older I get, closer we get to 50. The summers do. The summers in South Carolina are miserable, man. But
that sun zaps you, man.
Yeah, we got air conditioning machines now, so we're on the up and
up. So I'm going to go back to your rental business for 1 second, as I just had a couple questions that came to my mind while we've been talking. You're talking about Hilton Head and some other stuff on the other side of your county. So if you wanted to rent a machine from Sunbelt Rentals, how far of a drive, or what's the logistics of you doing that where you're currently at?
An hour if you don't get in a traffic jam or a wreck. There's
each way.
Yeah, each way. Unless you want to pay delivery, and delivery for them I think is $200 or $300 round trip, depending on the size of equipment you get, obviously, depending on where it's going to, and where they're at. So Hilton Head's a major populated side of town. It's close to Pooler and all that good stuff, close to the airport and everything over there. So they got a great location for them. But for all of us on this side of town, it's not a great location. That's why that one mom and pop shop here, they do pretty good because they kind of have the market cornered.
And because they were the only game in town, service was irrelevant because nobody wanted to drive 2.5 hours through all that traffic just to pick up equipment.
I think you got a point there. It don't matter if they do you wrong or don't do you wrong, or they give you a good deal, don't give you a good deal. Somebody else is going to come through that door because they don't want to go 2-hour round trip to Sunbelt. Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So with you starting, and I'm sorry, is it Gunny Rentals or is it Gunny Master Rentals?
Gunny's Equipment Rentals.
Gunny's Equipment Rentals.
I was retired. I was retired gunnery sergeant, so I just named it Gunny's Equipment Rentals. Yep.
Yeah. So with you coming in and now you if you put any effort into customer service, they have two choices: either get better or start dying on the vine.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, pat ourselves on the back, I think our customer service is top notch. My son has great people skills. He does great with customers. If something messes up, he helps them out or whatever. We're not asses to people. We give people the benefit of the doubt, where we understand people are humans, accidents happen, stuff happens, we get it. Then I know that person myself just from my own equipment that I have to take care of and all that good stuff. And then, like I said, my wife, my daughter, my daughter-in-law, them, they communicate real well with people. Then everybody comes to the door. They say, man, you guys are so nice. Thanks for being so nice, making it so easy. They take time to explain. People ask weirdest questions like, what size bucket, how much dirt can go in that bucket on the excavator? How far will it reach to the left? How far will it dig down? And they got like specs. They've looked up everything. How much does it weigh? Can I put it on this kind of trailer? And they'll look up the trailer specs. Like, yes, you can put it on that trailer. And just that little extra goes a long way with people. And even the older community that comes in, a lot of people that are older don't want to do that no more. They'll come through wanting to rent a piece of equipment sometimes. And I was like, well, I'm not too good with that piece of equipment. Is there somebody here can do it? My son like, yeah, I'll do it for you. I'm out there if you want me to and show you how to do it. And he'll go out there, spend time with him, show him how to do it or whatever, and help him out, whatever he can do, So they really appreciate that. And they tell all their friends about it. And now we got people from 2-3 counties over. I mean, we're coastal South Carolina, so pretty much all the coastal counties around us, and then right above us, we get customers as far as 2 hours out. Can we get a piece of equipment? I'm good. I'm happy with it. Yeah, that's a long haul for a piece of equipment, but a lot of those don't have the Sunbelts or mom and pop shops or none of other stuff. So it's good when we hear that. It's real good.
Yeah, there's a huge gap in the market for that you could kind of fill in with these smaller rental places in these more rural or not so serviced areas, because Sunbelt's not going to go to a town of 15,000.
No, they're not. And the town people who lives in town of 15,000 aren't going to go to Sunbelt either because the prices and everything like that. We got our prices very competitive. People say we're lowballing people, but at the end of the day, we pay our bills. I pay my equipment, I pay my payroll, I pay whatever I have to do, and we're still making money. So I don't care what you're charging across town. I don't care what they're charging. What I care is what makes me money. So, and we do it, and we're doing it pretty good at it. We're getting pretty good at it.
Jason, that's the best piece of advice. I hope anyone listening to this podcast I don't care, great in business, struggling in business, new in business, old in business, stop caring about other people.
Yeah. Don't worry about his bills. Worry about what he's got. You worry about your own.
Know your numbers, charge what you need to charge, figure out how to provide value for that, and don't worry about what the hourly rate is down the street or what's he charging per acre for that. I mean, it will ruin you because you spend all this time focused on everybody else's business. You're not looking at your own.
Yeah. Worry about yourself. Don't worry about others. And I see that on a lot of these social media pages we're on, people dogging people because of what they charge and all this good stuff. And I do get it in my line of work, I do get it keeping it competitive and all that stuff and trying to keep it a certain price. But some of these guys, you see their prices. I was like, man, I don't know if you're going to be successful doing that. I try to offer them advice, but I say you probably get your prices a little higher. But then again, I'm with them too. The same thing. At the end of the day, if I need to make $500 that day to pay my bills, I'm going to go make $500. If I need to make $2,000 a day to pay my bills, I'm going to do it. I also read the customers too. If the customer doesn't have the money, and I don't think they have the money or afford it, then there's actually many times I've actually just done a job for free. Like where we're at, low country, coastal South Carolina, stuff floods all the time. Driveways get screwed up, roads get screwed up. And I was like, look, I'm not going to charge you for it. I said, don't tell people I'm out here doing work for free. I was like, just tell your friends I gave you a good deal. Tell them we did a good job. Leave me a review on Facebook, but I'm not going to charge you for it. That goes a long way with a lot of people.
Oh, it goes a huge way. And, if I had an elderly neighbor and I heard about you doing something like that for free, you'd be the only person I'd call to do work on my property.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it goes a long way. People are so set up in making the money, chasing the dollar, they forget about being a business person, or not being a business person, but being a regular human being.
Part of the community.
Yeah, and every time there's storms come up or whatever, I'll post on like these Facebook local pages and stuff, and I tell people, hey, if you need a piece of equipment, let us know. We'll try to help you out any way you can, because our community, our area goes first. We got to free up our roads. We got to free up everything around here, and I've actually done it many times, clean up the roads, move stuff out of the way, and I don't charge people. It's like that's just I just don't like benefiting off people's misfortune. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like storm chasing and all that. I've never done that. I've helped family clean up and friends clean out and all that good stuff, but I don't. If someone asks me to come help them out, I'd do that. But I don't go door to door knocking and say, "Hey, give me some money to get this out of the way." I just don't. The money will come, the work will come. Just be good. Try to be good to people. Try to help people out.
Yeah, that's I heard a guy talk about that on a different podcast, and he was just like, I only do work for either full price or free. There's no discounts. Because he's not going to devalue his value. But he's like, so if it's like a elderly person in the community or my brother or this, is like there's no deal. It's full price or free.
Yeah. That's what I am. I don't know. I'll make the money up somewhere. I'll be okay. I'll just believe. I believe it'll come to me no matter what. And if it don't come to me, like I said, then it's meant to be. Shut up shop and go get on the boat, go fishing the rest of my life. I have no problem with it.
But you're shocked about how much, like, just because you don't hear those stories. But I mean, there's just, and I don't care what industry you want to go talk about. There's a story of somebody struggling to break through, and he does a nice gesture. And he doesn't do it to market it. And he just does a nice gesture. And that spreads like wildfire. And then the phone starts ringing.
Yeah. You're right. And there's some people out there too. In this area here, there's a couple of new businesses that have started up and they don't do great jobs. And I have to do a lot of cleanup after them. I'm like, man, you're screwing up for yourself. You're screwing up for people in this line of work. I was like, you give people bad taste and nobody wants to deal with. There's a reason why people want to deal with companies that got 40, 50 employees, because they expect work that they're going to get to cover the payrolls of those 40, 50 employees. But like guys like me, single, I can get doubt for customers sometimes when you show up and like, oh, you can't do all that work by yourself. And then I prove them wrong. But if you got some guy who came up before me by himself, said he was going to do it all, and he screwed it up, and I'm out there trying to, quote it to fix it, then the customer's like, yeah, you can't do it. This guy couldn't do it. You can't do it, So you just gotta balance it, I guess. You gotta just try to do right. Don't look at the dollar. Some of these people I'm talking about are the ones who see dollar signs and paycheck signs. They go straight for the money, try to get the job done as fast as possible, get that paycheck, get to the next job. They do crappy work. They don't treat the customers well. They're not personable, I just try to relate to people. I always say I talk too much, but I try to relate to people, get on a level of like the bigger picture, what they really want to do to help them out, instead of just, all right, my name's Jason. It's going to cost this much. Job's over with. Give me my check, Yeah.
And I think that's a gift, actually. Because if you don't actually understand what their vision and goal, especially when you're in land clearing, right? Because you're typically the first contractor on site.
Yep.
Right. You can't dig the foundation. You can't bring in the gravel. Like you can't do anything.
Yep.
Till that land's cleared. So, but if you don't know what the vision and look is, how are you going to do your job right?
Yep. You're right. And I just have this weird thing to where I like seeing, I visualize before and after in my mind. When the customer says, I want this done, I could see it in my mind. It's like, oh, that's going to really look nice when we're done and all that good stuff. And there's been properties too I've been before, just because of the way the terrain was or the water was land or trees. I tell the customer, I'll say, hey, it's going to turn out good, but it's not going to turn out as good as I think you may think it's going to turn out, just because they only want this, and this done. And I'm not trying to upsell them anything, but if I recommend something, and they say, let's not do it that way. I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I don't know. I'm just real picky about work. I just want everything to turn out perfect that way. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know how I envision it in my head, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think getting able to connect with the customer and like when you're doing that initial walkthrough, like learning about them. I mean, my buddy's sold, I don't know how many millions of dollars worth of excavation equipment to contractors. And he'll tell me straight to my face, he's like, I've never sold more equipment than talking about hunting and fishing. He goes, I've closed millions of dollars of deals talking about hunting and fishing. Like, because you're just connecting with that guy, and the guy's like, "Oh, by the way, add that 40-ton excavator." I'm like, "Yep, we'll send it next week."
Yeah, because you're not talking about work, and
because you're not pressuring him into buying.
Yep, you're exactly right. Yeah, I have customers like that too, but it's not talking about hunting and fishing. I call them ghost customers, but they're the easiest to work for because they'll just call and say, "Hey, go over to this lot and give me a day of mulching over here, or go over this lot and clear some. I never meet the customer. They never meet me. I go do it. I send them pictures. They send me a check in the mail. I'm like, well, I didn't talk about the work. They didn't tell me. I mean, I wasn't trying to sell them something. They just wanted something done. I got it done. Yeah.
Yep. I just need it done.
Yeah.
But I mean, we always there's a story of the old man that calls and wants a pond built on his property. And, the contractor's like, yeah, we can cut this and use this ravine, build a levee. It's going to be $40,000. Mm-hmm. And the second guy spends 2 hours talking to him, and he starts learning that he really wants a pond because his grandkids never come to visit. And he's hoping that this will force his daughter to bring the kids more for family oasis. He doesn't want a pond. He wants time with his grandkid.
Yep.
You could charge $45,000, but if you give him the vision of the family oasis, he's picking you.
Oh yeah.
Because you get it.
Yeah. Yep. Put your little pier up there, hang your rope swing over that oak tree hanging over there, cut it around there. Oh, I'll get it, man.
Yeah, there's not another guy in town that's going to get that job because you get what he wants.
Yep, exactly.
And you can't do that if you don't talk to him.
Yep, if you don't give them the few minutes to let them say what they want to say or listen to their vision. Like if you say, if I show up, hey, I'm Jason, it's this much, this is the job. Yeah, but if you spend time with them and ask them what their thoughts are, and even offer ideas, or I spend time and go through my phone and show them other projects I've done. Like, hey, check this out. We've done this. We can do this here. We made a dog bone pond for a lady. She wanted a pond in the shape of a dog bone because she was a dog lover. So we made her. It was ridiculous how we did it. It took us about 3 weeks to do it. It wasn't a big pond by any means, but we made it in the shape of the dog bone. She was the happiest person I've ever seen in my life. Yeah,
price wasn't even the issue at that point. This is what I want.
No, she's a big dog lover. Yeah, so price wasn't an issue.
Listen, I'm telling you, man, like we don't have any kids. And about 3 years ago during COVID, we ended up getting a dog. And Tracy is the epitome of a dog mom. And you could say, this is $1,000 and this will make your dog live 6 months longer. She'll be like, I'll take 2. Like she's wild. Wild over it. Yeah. So there's something to be said about those animal pet people, like the cat people, dog people, like pig people, horse people. Like if it's going to benefit that animal, price is not the driving factor.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. If they want it and they think it's going to be good for them and their pet, they're good. They're all good, all for it.
Yeah, like you can't screw them over, but like you don't need to devalue your work. Like you need to just provide the value and show the benefit to them or the dog or whatever, the horse, because it's not price driven.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yep.
It's not transactional like grading a driveway.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to have this much cost, this much material, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like if they look at that and say, God, if the horse breaks its ankle or breaks, knee or whatever that is, because the arena is not right and they've got the ruts in the ground over there, then I got to put the horse down. So again, it's not about the cost that you're doing it. It's about the outcome if you don't do it.
Yeah. What could happen to the horse or the animal? Yeah. You're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah. And then one of the guys I worked with Groundbreaking Growth, we actually put a referral program together because he was going after the equine community, the equestrian community, because his wife was big into training horses and he knew a lot about them too and all that. So he was like, grooming or building arenas and everything like that. So as a referral program, if you referred him to a company to a horse property that needed work, he would give you a free nail clipping for your horse.
Hey, that's not bad.
And his wife's friend owned the business that did the nail clippings. So now he got to support another business and he was giving something that was way more valuable to them than $100.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that they can do, something they can find someone to trust into to do the job.
But it's like, take that time to figure out what's important to your customers when you whether it be referrals or a thank you gift, like make them personable, like the gas card or the cash or whatever. That's simple. It's easy, but it's not personable.
No. Yeah. It's a little extra, just a little extra mile. Walk the extra mile to help them out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I ever got hired to do work for you, I would find something military related. That would be like, that's what stands out to me, right? Like you did 21 years. You like to have a good time. You're laughing about that. So probably military in a cute, fun way that you'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Right.
Yeah. It's a gesture.
Yeah. It's the gesture.
Yeah. You're right.
Like you go do land clearing on a cattle farm and you get a welcome mat for their front door and it's got a big goofy face of a cow on it. That goes a lot farther than $50 card to the gas station.
Yeah. You're not taking time for the customer. It's just a blanket gift.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I always tell people, like if you're giving a gift with your business name on it, that's not a gift.
No, it's not.
No,
because they know who you are.
As much as you love your business, nobody wants your hat unless they ask for it.
Yeah. Because they know who you are and they're not going to wear it anyways, most likely. Some people do, some people don't, but yeah, you can give them something better than that. A hat or shirt or cup, whatever. That's just run the mill, just pass out. Some people throw it at an event or a carnival or whatever. They don't want that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And like doing the work, giving them a gift is one thing, but I'm telling you what, if you gave a gift to everybody that gave you a referral, said, hey, John told me to call you. You're the guy for land clearing. And you went and gave John a thank you gift. Like that keeps the referral train moving.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. He'll appreciate that because he took his extra time to get your name out there and tell people about other people. So yeah, he appreciates that.
Yeah. And then the customer you did the work for is going to hear that you gave John a gift. He's like, what's that for? He's like, well, it's because he referred me to you. Well, now he's got an incentive to refer you to somebody because like, well, I can't let John have it and I can't get it. You got to keep up with the Joneses.
That's right. You got to keep it going. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So it's about finding those little things that can create more momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of them out there. Yep.
There's a lot of them out there. What's one thing you wish you would have done different since you started your business?
Oh, that's a tough one. Other than starting sooner than just getting out of landscaping faster, I'm not perfect by any means, but I don't think there's really anything I would have done different. I don't know. I learned it every bit as I went, and I did it all my way. And I don't think you can get classes or get learning, you get teaching from it. And there's nobody I can really pick their ear on. I don't think there's really nothing. I really don't, man. Not to try to sound mean or rude or whatever.
No, I love that. I love that you said I'm not perfect. So like, all I heard from that is like, yeah, there's definitely things I could have done different, but I'm okay that they happened.
Nothing that would have shifted my business in a different major direction, if that makes any sense. Yeah, nothing that would have. No one thing or no two things that should have. I sit here and lose sleep over every night and say, man, if I'd done this, we'd be doing this. If I'd done this, no. I mean, little stuff happens, hiccups happens. It's lessons. It ain't mistakes. I call them lessons.
They are.
You learn from it. You're learning from it, but it's nothing that sticks out. Says, man, I should have did this. I should have did that, or I missed out on that. I don't lose sleep over it, man. It all happens for a reason.
Yep. I don't care how old we get. Education is not free.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I don't, you might be running you're not in school paying an institution for education, but every time like you slip that track because you ran over a stump, or every time you do this and you learn something, like there's a cost to that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And then I also believe too, if you stop learning, then you need to shift direction or shift focus, because I believe you should be learning every day. Because I don't think no one knows everything. I think the minute you stop learning is the minute you get in a routine and get the monotony. I don't know.
Monotony.
Some start seeing monotony, repetitive, and all that good stuff. I just think you need to. You're not going to learn if you don't try it. You know what I mean? Not saying go out there, take chances and roll the dice and gamble on all this stuff or whatever, but you're not going to learn until you try it. Even though I just sit there and told a lie, because with the rental company, we rolled the dice. We went and bought new equipment and said, let's just see what happens. And we rolled the dice but we learned though. We learned from it. Yeah. But
yeah. And Jason, I don't know if this ever crossed your mind or not, but like, yeah, you out and buy all new equipment. If this thing falls on its face, that equipment's still worth 70, 80% of what you purchased it for. And that's like you're not out $250,000 or $500,000. You're out $100,000.
Yep, you're right. And we sit there and, without getting political, but we are worried. Everyone's worried about this election, see where it's going to go, see how costs are going to go, how the economy is going to go, and all this good stuff. And at the end of the day, I tell my wife, I say, worst case, we just sell everything. And that's why it keeps me going so positive. Like, if it gets too bad to where I can't make money, then I'll just sell everything. It's not like I'm I'll be losing my business. I'll be losing something I invested in, but I'm not losing. Not saying I'm losing a headache or a burden, but it's just like a little bit of weight off my shoulders, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
because like if you invest all your money in a technology and nobody wants to use it, you have no assets to sell. You're just out.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But like when you invest in these service businesses or real estate, like worst case scenario is you have an asset to sell.
Yeah, you sell it, and that's good. That's what I say. It's like I'll sell it if I need to. I've never had to, knock on wood, and hopefully never do, have to sell anything, to make ends meet. Never. And we first starting out, and there was a couple months here, first couple 3 years or whatever, just had to make ends meet, but we never had to sell anything. We just stopped the vacation or stopped spending something here, stop buying something here, whatever. But never had to sell anything to say I got to pay this bill, man. I need to go sell this excavator. Because then when you do that, you get desperate and then you sell it for something you shouldn't have sold it for. So I don't know. But if we do ever have to sell, I'll have no problem selling and going fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say if I got to sell, I'm just liquidating. Like I'm just out.
Yep. You're right. Yep. I had a good run. I don't have any regrets. I have a good run and I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was in bars and restaurants for years. And like after 2008, 2009, with that housing market crash, we just never really fully recovered. And by 2011, I'm like, just close it. I'm done. Like, yeah, we got a bunch of stuff we can sell and all that, but I don't look at this as going, oh, we've got this business that's worth this much money and I can't just close it. I was like, it's only worth what people will pay you, not what you think it's worth.
Yeah, you're right. And if you're desperate, then it's going to be worth a lot less.
It's worth a lot less. So to me, I was like, just close it. Let's move on. Next chapter of our life. And, like you're talking about it, we were talking about this earlier. I mean, those years owning bars and restaurants were a lot of fun. And I get an itch every now and then because I was really good at it. But I'm like, no way do I want to work till 2 a.m, 3 a.m, ever again.
No, I don't blame you. But you really shifted gears. You went completely opposite side of the house.
Man, I was just sitting. We closed those businesses. I was trying to start like a limousine party bus business with the guy, and he was. Anyway, I just got to the point where I said to get out of the house and figured like let my mind clear. So my friend owned part of a business of a manufacturing company, and they hired me for $12 an hour plus commission to do sales, and it was a skid steer grader business.
Really?
So do more. Yeah, it's called Do More Equipment. In fact, I was a salesman for 12 or 14 months. They fired the management team, gave me the keys to the business. I ran it for almost 10 years. They ended up selling the business and the building and all that. And I didn't want to stay with the new owners. I just didn't know them. Nothing negative. This was how I worked and operated. So, and then I started Skid Steer Nation and I became their customer.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
I knew nothing. I knew nothing about skid steers, manufacturing, metal types, none of that shit. I didn't know anything.
So you're still learning?
Well, this was like, yeah, but that was 2012.
Oh, okay. It's been a while then. Yeah.
When I started working for them in sales, I ran, yeah. So I knew nothing about it. I just looked at it and I was like, it looks it's pretty well built and I don't have to run away after I sell it. Well, it's like, I don't have to run away after I sell it because I don't want to sell something and then be dodging phone calls because this thing's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And we just got in there and like business principles translate to any industry, any service, any manufacturer. Like there's principles for a reason, right? So when I could go in there and be like, why is the management team doing this? Or why are we spending money on this and not this? Why are we investing in phase 3? We're not even through phase 1. Things in that nature. And then they just like, the owner's kind of like, oh, would you be interested in running the business? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah, I think I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
So that's kind of how I got into the whole construction industry.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. And, I'm glad what you said too about making sure stuff's built quality and all that good stuff. Because in our line of work, you'll have some major manufacturers out there say they build quality. It just don't stand up. So you got to do your research. You got to do your homework. You got quality control too. I think some of these companies will start out building quality products, and then they get so busy and so backlogged that they cut corners and they don't build them as good. They shave off, quality control inspections, all this good stuff. So I'm glad you said that because it happens to a lot of people and they start this business and they say, okay, I got to get this, I got to get this, and got to get this. They go out and get the cheapest skid steer they can find, the cheapest attachment they can find, all this crap. Next thing you know, they've made 10 grand, but they've done 15 or $20,000 worth of damage to their equipment. And they go in the hole further and further and further, trying to replace the stuff that had they bought a quality product from the start or something that was reliable from the start. They won't be paying us $15,000, $20,000.
I mean, Jason, you hear it all the time, right? The guy doesn't want to spend $3,500, $4,000 on a high quality grapple bucket, so he goes to an auction, buys one of those Wolverine Chinese brands for $1,200, and the damn thing literally bends in 3 hours.
Yep, and then you're out of money. Now you got to go buy.
Now you're out $1,200. It's just like, spend, like, there's certain things you just have to spend the money on up front.
You can't skip. Yeah, you can't skip on it. Yeah.
Because if you look at the cost of ownership over the life of it, you're so much farther ahead.
Something as simple as the couplers, the lines. I mean, the people don't realize it, but there's a million different people make couplers for your hydraulics. There's a million different lines out there. There's even the grease. Don't freaking go buy that cheap freaking $3 tube of grease. Get you a $9, $10 tube of grease, because your equipment's going to appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're stepping over pennies. You're stepping over dollars to save pennies at that point, because like you don't want to spend $50 a month in grease. You want to spend 30.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You know what the average repair cost on a skid steer is got to be $3,000. I don't know anyone that ever sends it in and gets out with a $500. I've never heard of it.
No, and especially, like I said, if you buy it from one of these off manufacturers, off brands or whatever, then you're going to be paying probably more than that, because they don't have a good warranty. They don't have a good backup, a good following or whatever. And it's like, man, just do your research. I'm real good at that. Everything I buy, everything I do, my wife knows when she sees me sitting around on a computer a lot, which I don't do often, but she knows I'm sitting around a computer a lot. I'm doing research on something I need to buy. So I think that's a lot of reason why she don't ever question me anything in my purchasing anymore. I do my research. I do my homework. I reach out to people. I'll actually call companies and say, hey, I've seen on your website, you guys have this, this, and this. I said, give me the lowdown on it for real. And I see another guy with it, and I call the same exact guy. I don't just go out and say, oh, I like that, let me go buy. I do my homework. And you got to do your homework. You can't yeah, you got to. You can't just go out and buy stuff and expect it to perform and function just because it's got a nice paint job on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And back to that grease thing, like I just learned last year. I mean, I don't really own a bunch of equipment like skid steers, but there's certain types of grease that if you use it on your equipment, it voids the warranty.
Yeah, it voids the warranty. Just the grease, and even there's hydraulic oil. That's what I've learned too recently.
They've got specs for all that, and if you use something out of spec, you have no warranty.
Yep. And then some of these companies, they have like certain, like I say, Tractor Supply oils and greases made to spec, AutoZone made to spec, all this stuff. They are made to spec to a certain extent within a certain specification, but these companies are smarter. These major manufacturers are smarter. Well, they'll put their own dye in there, their own chemical in there that's not harmful. So when they send it off to the lab to test it, like the hydraulic pumps going out, all that stuff, if that's not in there, then like you're screwed, because you didn't run the stuff that they recommended or what's written down in that manual that says you need to run it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. It's a thin line.
It's wild, but I was like, I didn't realize it got down to like, you can only use one of these 7 brands for grease or hydraulic oil.
Yeah. That's what I say. Do your homework, do your research and all that good stuff. Just because it says it meets the standard don't mean it is what you should be running.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's crazy. So you're talking, that's a hypothetical question for you. You're talking to a 25-year-old kid. He's in business for less than 6 months, still getting his chops wet. What's some important advice you'd share with him?
Save your money. Don't go out after you get that paycheck from clearing that acre of land or 2 acres of land. Don't go out on vacation. Don't go out buying new wheels for your truck. Don't go out buying a new side-by-side. Save your money. Save your money. Keep saving your money. Keep saving your money. Then when you have something that you really need to get, go out and get it. You still have money saved, but you also have something you need. You know, don't spend your. If you look on Marketplace or any of these eBay or on any of these for sale sites, you see so many of these machines being sold. Got 150 hours on, 200 hours on, all the stuff. Like, why you sell it? Well, I bought it, and my business didn't work out the way I did. It didn't work out the way I did it. Blah blah blah. And then you see other stuff being sold. Like, well, I just assumed what happened was they got the money, they got the checks, and they just didn't invest in themselves. So save the money. Save the money. The money's going to come if you save it and reinvest in yourself in good quality products. Don't go out and buy dumb stuff.
I love it. That's great advice.
Work hard. You got to work hard. You got to. I'm 46 years old, man, and I've had like even when my landscaping company, I had 20-year-olds. I run circles around them. I still run circles around them. You got to don't be lazy. Get up before the sun comes up. Come to bed. I mean, I walk in the door at 9 o'clock at night sometimes. Sometimes I get so bad in summertime because I don't drink water and fluids like I do. I walk in the house and I'll lay on the floor just cramping up. My wife has to give me water and coats, but I was like, she's like, you don't have to work so hard. You don't have nothing to prove. I was like, shoot, I got everything to prove, man. I'm a high school dropout, but a fifth-year company. I was in and out of adjust. I got everything to prove. Maybe not to you or anybody else, but I was like, I got everything to prove to myself. I'm just not. Don't give up. Don't give up easy and don't quit. You just got to keep fighting, man. There's going to be. I sound very optimistic, and I'm very. It takes a lot to get me down, and I think that's what is from the military and how I grew up and all that stuff. Iraq, Afghanistan, in and out of jail, my friends, my family, and all this good stuff. But you just don't let it get to you. Just keep grinding, man. Just keep on fighting and keep on pushing. You got to be tough. You got to put the leather on, the leather face, leather skin on. You got to get through a lot of stuff. You got to put blinders on to a lot of stuff. But yeah. Dude, don't get me wrong. I have shitty days. I have bad days. I have bad weeks sometimes. But I was like, shoot, what am I gonna do? Sit here and cry and pout about it, or freaking lose it over? Don't worry about it. It's gonna get better. If it don't get better, then sell it and do something else. But
like I always hear a guy always say, like, every time something bad happens to you, say good. Say good. Yeah. Because if I was working for somebody else for $20 an hour, I wouldn't have these problems.
Yeah, you're right.
Good.
Yeah.
If I didn't have customers calling me that needed jobs done in a quick time frame, and I could be sitting on an empty schedule. Like, there's the backside of that problem, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
And the bigger you get and the more employees you hire or the more businesses you start, the bigger problems you get. And you just got to remind yourself, good. I wouldn't have this problem if I didn't start a rental company.
Yep. And that's what I say too. Like it's a lesson. You're going to learn something that day, whether you learn not to do it again or learn to do it a different way. You're going to learn something that day. And even like you're saying, as we're sitting here talking about starting and believing in yourself and pushing yourself, like you talked about, we're doing our rental company and we started from scratch and got this other. I'm not done opening up companies. I have 2 other companies in mind that I like to open up with the next 2 years that I think is going to be real successful in this area because there's only a few companies doing it. They do crappy work and they charge a premium for it. So that's one company. I'm actually looking to probably open it up in January, February. So I'll probably have to reach back out, tell you that one. And then toward the end of next year, I'm going to try, or the following year, try to open up another company because it's low investment, high return. And I believe I can do it. I don't know. I just believe I can do a lot of stuff. Sooner or later, my wife's will say, you got to stop believing you can do some stuff.
And you're going to look at her and be like, just like the Journey song, don't stop believing, baby.
Yeah, she will say I don't know. I just think I can do it. And I sit there and said I'm older because I'm 46, but I mean, I still got another good 20, 30 years in me. I'd like to hope so. And even then, I'm still going to be active and help people out. I'm trying to figure it out. I started late in the game. I didn't start my company when I was 21, 25 after college or whatever. I don't have 20 years of experience and 20 years of connections or 30 years of experience, 30 years of connections. I'm starting in like kind of a panic mode. It's like, I got to catch up. I got to get my name out there. I got to do this. And it's eased up a little bit, which helped us to start the rental company. And then even as we speak now, as busy as I am and as busy as they are, I'm sitting there thinking about opening up 2 more companies. My wife's like, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, man.
That's some great advice, man. Great advice. Jason, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your schedule to do this not once, but twice with me.
Hey, we're friends now. I'm getting a postcard for Christmas.
I'm telling you, a handwritten one. It's funny. Like it's crazy. Like the connection I can make with people in an hour, 2 hours doing these podcasts. Like you feel like you've known them a lot longer than that, just because we share some more intimate things than you would if you met a guy at a bar and we're having a drink with them and you just.
I think because you know the questions to ask and you let the person, in my experience, me sitting here right now, is you knew the questions to ask, you can relate, and you have a sense of what's going on from talking to other people and all that stuff. If you was just a interviewer like you see sometimes before and say, what color is your truck? how many people work for you? You see what I'm saying? If it was just black and white, it would be different. But you see the gray area. There's a lot of gray area there you can expand and explore. And so I think a lot of people appreciate. I personally appreciate that. It makes it more personable than just say, this is Jason. He does this. This is blah blah blah.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're a
man.
good interviewer. You're a good interviewer.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah. I always tell everybody that when they first come on, before we start recording the show, I'm like, listen, the questions we ask we ask a little survey to fill out.
Yep.
I'm like, that's just for me to get to know you. Like, I am not going to, I won't even look at that thing while we're talking because I just want to enjoy this conversation.
So I don't know if you remember this or not. I touched upon it last time when I sent you an email and all this stuff, and you sent that out. I told him, I was like, this guy's got spam. I'm not answering all that crap. And then I got looking into, started Facebook stalking and started stalking their social media. I was like, all right, let me do it just to see. I was like, I get a lot of spam. It's hard for me to get connected to anyone digitally through phone, email, text, just causes us to spam with our companies, our business, and the people, financiers and banks, they sell our information. So I ignore a lot of stuff. And I was like, well, maybe it's the real deal. So I filled it out and I was like, okay, he's legit. All right, I'll take time out of my day to go talk to him.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Hey, if you're listening to this and you think you've got a great story for the podcast, reach out to me. Like, nobody ever reached out to me to be a guest. I think I've had one person do it. So if you think you have a great story to share, even if you're a little nervous, don't worry, guys. I'll coach you on the call. The conversation will go smooth. You can ask Jason. It's just two guys chatting. It's no bright lights, big start now, stop now.
No, it's not too bad.
It's simple. And if you've been learning from it, people can learn from you. I always say all you got to do is be one step ahead and you can teach so much to somebody.
Yep. You're right. And also be willing to teach. A lot of people, I started out, there was no mentors. I learned it all myself. There's no mentors in some of those social media groups I get from. The people are very defensive, very one-sided.
You can say it. They're assholes.
They're assholes. They think they invented force mulching. You think they invented land clearing. You think they invented the machines that we operate every day. And it's like you can't get a straight answer from someone. And I don't like asking for help unless I absolutely need it. But I learned everything, with the minor exception of very few instances. I learned everything to where I'm sitting in front of you today by myself. There wasn't nobody guiding me. There wasn't no granddad or aunt or uncle or family helping me out along the way, or nobody, give me equipment from the farm to get started or nothing like that. I freaking started from a 23 horsepower Massey Ferguson tractor, man.
Yeah. It's more common than you think, Jason. Like, guys will buy a tractor for snow removal, landscaping, like driveway grading, and the phone just gets ringing and ringing to the point that the tractor's not the right piece of equipment for them.
Yep. You're right. You're exactly right. They need something else, shift gears. And that's scary too in itself, because you put all that money into that tractor, but you need to shift focus another way. And I just tell people, like, sometimes you got to believe in it, man. I believe that if you believe in yourself and you go the direction you want to go, you focus your sense of work ethic on that, it'll come to you. I told you this before when we spoke. I had 5 mulching jobs, forestry mulching jobs lined up before I bought my first mulcher. Because I just had a 6-foot bush hog tractor and a bush hog. And I said, well, people started asking me about forestry mulching. So that's when, go back to deposits. I had deposits on all 5 of those jobs. And I called the dealer. I was like, hey, man, go ahead and sell me that machine. So they got the job lined up. And then from there, it went from, don't go out. I guess that is one good piece of advice too. Try to line up the work before you buy the piece of equipment. Try to get the work lined up, or see how many people be interested in helping you out and helping you get work lined up or whatever. Don't just go, hey, this one guy said something about bush hogging the other day. Don't go buy a tractor because somebody said something. Get it lined up.
Yeah, sell it before you buy it, man. I can't tell you how many people I've seen buy bulldozers because they want to get into ponds. And within 6 months or a year, that bulldozer's for sale because they never got a pond job.
So I fought that battle for the longest time about buying a bulldozer, because we do ponds, small scale ponds, here and there. And a bulldozer makes it easy. It makes it convenient, makes it faster. But, my wife would run the excavator and I just moved the dirt with a skid steer with a tractor. We got along just fine. Here it is. So many years later, I haven't bought a bulldozer yet. And I'm glad I didn't, because it probably would have been for sale.
Yeah. Because you have to use that a lot of days a year to justify that number.
Yeah. And they're not cheap. Bulldozers are not cheap.
Even an old one's not cheap.
No, they're not. And if you get an old one, you run the risk of you got a bill or something breaking or maintenance cost every other week when you run
Oh,
it.
and yeah, and I'm not versed in bulldozers, but I know what undercarriage repairs cost on a skid steer. I can't imagine what the X factor is, 3X, 10X, but they can't be cheap.
No, it's up there. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Can't be cheap.
No, it's not. No.
So,
I will never find out, put it that way. I'm glad I won't.
yeah, like just if you end up getting 7 pond jobs booked for the summer coming up, go buy your bulldozer.
Definitely. Definitely. Yep. If you get that, you're good. It'll pay for itself over those 7 jobs.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. Uh, Guys, if you like Jason, we're going to put a link down to his business profile page in the show notes. Feel free to send him a message. Tell him thanks for being a guest. If you guys are in the Marine Corps, send him a hoorah. Or
Hoorah.
was it the devil dog hoorah?
Hoorah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this episode's going to air just a few days after the Marine Corps birthday. And I hear you've got quite the bash lined up. So I hope you and all of your fellow Marine Corps family have one hell of a party.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the time and thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome, Jason. Thank you very much. Guys, again, growing your business is hard when you do it alone. So if you're looking for some help, some guidance, some assistance, head over to groundbreakinggrowth.com. Links in the show notes down below. Book a call with me and we can help you scale your business, increase your profits, and remove some of that stress from your life. Until next week, guys, keep your chins up, keep working, keep grinding. Nothing's easy. Take care.